Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're going to be doing a pretty simple webinar talking through some things that you might have already seen and some things that you probably didn't even know about. So, our goal today is to talk about how you can make the most of your Revel POS. So, to start, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Anna Kessel. I am the corporate training team lead here at Revel Systems. I've been with Revel for a little over 2 years. I've got an awesome co-pilot with me. His name is Andrew, so he's going to be answering all of your questions as they come up. Please feel free to use the chat or question icons within the control panel. We'll be monitoring those throughout the webinar. But additionally, we are going to host a Q&A session at the end. So if you're holding your questions till the end, feel free, but just know to populate them either, again, in the questions or chat section of that little control panel that you'll see on the right side of your screen. So today's agenda is going to be pretty simple. We're going to talk through about 3 different sections, starting off with the manager settings of your POS. You can see some of the things that we're going to be covering. After we talk through manager settings, we're going to move on to the POS settings that are found within manager settings. This is a pretty dense section, so that's why we definitely like to pay some attention to it. And then we're going to talk through some of the action option buttons. But in addition to the action option buttons, we're going to navigate through the POS screen to make sure that we kind of cover everything that's on there so that you can utilize something maybe that you didn't even know existed or didn't know how it functioned. So I'm going to jump right into it. But before I start, I have one little announcement to make, and that's about our resources. So if you haven't heard yet, we now have our training videos on its very own website. So if you go to revelsystems.com/revel-university, that's where you're going to find lots of different categories. You're going to find all of our recorded webinars. So on the left side of the screen, you'll see that category called webinars highlighted by the red circle. If you're used to getting to our training videos and looking up those recorded webinars through our support site, you can still go to support.revelsystems.com. You'll just notice that where you normally saw the icon for training videos, it's been updated to Revel University. So that's what our new site is called. So again, recorded webinars are going to be there and a variety of different videos on functionality. So if you need to know how to use something, check it out, type it in, search for that video. If you can't find it, check out the support site as well. There could be a knowledge base article that could help you get to what you're looking for. So you definitely have a lot of options. All right, let's jump right into it. We're going to start by talking through manager settings. So kicking things off, you're going to find manager settings in the settings of your POS. So take a look on the screen on the right. You've got that red box. If I toggle onto the settings gear, I'm going to see manager as the first one. One thing that I do want to mention about this is that you do have to have the specific permissions in order to access this. So if it's something that you don't see, you'll have to go ahead and check your role permissions. So let's go ahead and talk through what you can find in this settings section. First thing that we see is financials. So you'll find 4 reports that you can email or print from the POS. The first is going to be the daily cash log. And this report is an itemized list of cash transactions from starting cash to expected cash in the till. Next, we have the daily payment summary, which summarizes payment totals for each payment type that you accept. Third is the payment log. This provides an itemized list of payments received, specifically grouped by payment type. And finally, we have the sales report. The sales report is a comprehensive, configurable sales report that's going to include summarized sales, discounts, voids, refunds, payments, and liabilities data. Obviously, your more powerful reporting will still be in the reporting tab of the management console. However, when you need some quick information regarding financials, you can have that at your fingertips directly from the POS. The next feature we have is time management. You can easily clock in and clock out times by accessing the time management screen on the POS. You can even clock out an employee from this screen. So if your employee is rushing out at the end of their shift and forgets to clock out with the right permission set, and that's generally a manager or an owner, you can easily clock them out right there. So we're going through these pretty quickly. Again, you can ask questions at any time. Andrew is monitoring the chat and questions section. So the next part, we're going to talk about the end of day process. And this is one that I tend to get excited about. I think it's a really, really great tool. And if you don't see this on your POS, you can enable it. There's a simple setting for the end of day process in the settings tab of the management console. So first you'll have to enable in the management console. And then aside from the default actions that we have, you'll also be able to add additional tasks that fit your business. And like I mentioned, we have those default steps. There are 7 of them. And you can pick and choose which ones you'd like to include. In the image on the screen, you can see that we've gone through the 7 default steps. So just closing out all open orders with a 0 balance, that's at the top there, and closing our tills. What you see on the right are the additional tasks that I've customized for my establishment. So as I go through them, I can mark each individual one as complete, and then the last step is going to be to print the report, and I'm done. So don't leave anything to chance. Feel confident that your employees are wrapping up the day just as you would. And if you'd like more information, both Revel University and our support site have great step-by-step guides on how to set this up. So again, if you want to enable the end of day process, just search for it under advanced POS settings in your management console, enable, and then customize your process so it does exactly what you need it to. Again, those step-by-step guides, you can find them at revelsystems.com/revel-university. All you have to do is search end of day, and you will get both a setup and usage instructional video there. Our videos are generally linked to knowledge base articles, so if you prefer to walk through something on paper, you can get the link directly from that video as well. So next we're going to look at lock. If needed, the lock feature simply enables you to restrict certain employees to individual POS terminals. So this means that only that person or people assigned or locked to this POS can utilize that POS. If there's ever a time that you need to contact support, they might ask you to enable troubleshoot mode. So this is what we're looking at right now. And enabling this allows support agents to follow along with what you're doing. So it's that much easier to identify your needs, figure out what exactly is happening, and get that resolved that much faster. So that's troubleshoot mode. Make sure that you always turn it off after it's enabled. So you'll have to navigate back to the settings here, click on troubleshoot mode, and just make sure to toggle that on button back to off. Aside from troubleshoot mode, we have other tools on the POS that will help you with support. A fun tool that you may not know about is the ability to submit a ticket directly from the POS, and you actually have 2 options. First, you can swipe 3 fingers down anywhere on the iPad screen, and it doesn't matter specifically what POS screen you're on either. Another option is to double tap on the logo at the login screen, so where you normally enter the PIN pad to log in. There's going to be a logo there. Simply double tap on it, and you'll see the version information page that you kind of see on the screen towards the bottom. Tapping the diagnostics will allow you to submit a ticket from that screen as well. So 2 options for dealing with support. The 3-finger swipe or double tapping on that logo, you'll navigate to the support ticket, and of course troubleshoot mode, which I think is a great tool. Really helps resolving those issues go by that much quicker. So right now we're going to make a transition towards talking about products. So manage item mode does exactly what it says it will. It allows you to manage your items directly from the POS. While we always recommend that you make mass changes and updates from the management console, there can absolutely be a time when you need to make a quick change and don't have easy access to a computer. With manage item mode, you don't need one. You can easily navigate through your items to make edits, and you can even add new items with just a few steps. So it's a really great tool. Again, I do want to reiterate that if you're going to be making lots of changes, it's probably best to utilize Excel or even log into your management console and go to your products tab to kind of take a look at what you're going to be changing. But again, if it's something quick, manage item mode will do the trick. Didn't mean to make that rhyme, but it did. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about inventory. And if you keep track of inventory through Revel, your POS can be a great assistant. The management console isn't your only tool to adjust inventory amounts and costs. While you can only create POs in the management console, so if you utilize POs, that functionality does not transfer over to the POS. The only thing that you can actually do with a PO from a POS is receive off of the PO. Now you have that ability in the management console as well. Revel loves to give you lots of options. So this particular feature gives you the ability to manage your inventory wherever you physically receive it. And that actually wraps up what we're going to be talking about when it comes to manager settings. But again, we're not done yet. We still got 2 other sections to cover. So we're going to navigate through and talk through the most dense settings section, which is POS settings. Each POS terminal in your establishment can be customized through the POS settings. And what you see here is a list of the settings that you'll find in the section. You can choose if you want the ability to assign tills. You can require employees to clock in with a photo to reduce what we call buddy clock-ins, or select your font size for your menu button. So there's lots of options for customization. We're going to start by talking about tills. So through the till function, you can obviously set the till. You can record pay-ins and payouts, so that petty cash that you sometimes need. And of course, use safe drop, so getting that money out of the actual till. All of this information is directly linked to the cash office report in the management console, as well as the tills report. So you have 2 places in the management console to actually manage and analyze your cash. When closing a till, you can easily record individual bill and coin amounts. And right after you're done counting and you finish up your checkout, you'll see a checkout summary report, which will provide you the details of your till, your open amount, your close amount, and it'll highlight variances if there are any. Of course, you can print this summary for your records or review it in your management console reporting whenever you need it. So again, you'd simply head over to your management console, click on the reports tab, and either find the cash office report or the tills report. Revel gives you maximum flexibility with the ability to set either a single or a dual cash drawer, so you'll find that in the POS settings as well. And your POS is constantly monitoring your network, so if anything doesn't seem to be connected, you'll be notified. Generally, you'll see some kind of red bar when it comes to check network, especially if the check network toggle is off. So you want to make sure that it stays on so that it can continually monitor. One of the other settings that you'll notice close to check network is the ability to toggle custom menus on or off, and that's for each POS terminal that you have. So keep in mind that you'll still need to set up custom menus in the management console, but after you do that, you can choose which POS actually shows a custom menu. You can also toggle between manual menus. In the same section here on custom menus, you can create manual menus, and those simply mean you have full flexibility of selecting what menu you want to show up on your POS at any given time. Custom menus we typically try to create so that they do all the work for you. And as long as custom menus are enabled on a POS based on what you've created here in the management console, it's going to follow those rules, and the appropriate menu will show on the appropriate POS. But I'd like to mention that custom menus aren't just for your POS terminals. You might see a couple other things. They're used to create other menus, such as online ordering, menus for your kiosk terminals if you utilize those, as well as digital menu boards. So if you have digital menu boards in your establishment, you're going to have to create a custom menu that will ultimately be displayed on your digital menu board. Again, menus are going to, this custom menu section is going to be located under the products tab of the management console, and it gives you the flexibility to either create or modify your existing custom menus. Moving on. So continuing down that list of POS settings, we have clock in and clock out options. So from the PIN pad screen, employees can either clock in by entering their PIN and tapping time clock, but you can also choose to enable photo clock in. And photo clock in essentially allows employees to take a selfie using the iPad front facing camera. I do want to be clear that this isn't facial recognition, but you do have the ability to review the photos and make sure that each one actually matches the employee who's clocking in. So that's a fun feature. On this slide, we're going to talk about both training mode and the auto logout feature. So let's start with training mode. What do you do when you have a new employee that needs to be trained? You don't want to affect your sales by having them run fake transactions, but you also need them to practice before they're live and working with customers. So training mode is going to be that solution. Enabling it allows you to train your employees and actually have them use the iPad, the POS as is, in order to practice ringing up those transactions without any consequences to your sales reporting. So it's a pretty great tool to be able to use whenever you've got a new employee in your establishment. Next, we have the auto logout feature. And this is great, especially if you have multiple employees that utilize the same POS terminal. Enabling it automatically logs out an employee after they complete a transaction and click the done button on the POS. So to reiterate, it simply logs them out and securely locks the POS so that it can be accessed by another employee with a valid login PIN. So frequently you'll see this enabled for table service restaurants where you have that auto logout feature turned on. You have multiple servers using the same POS terminal. So as soon as they're done working on the current transaction and actually tap that done button, it will log them out. So saving them a step and actually making sure that their orders remain their orders and no one else accidentally opens up another order or adjusts an order under their name. This is a pretty simple feature, fonts. So if your product text seems off to you or it oddly wraps, you can easily adjust the font size of your menu so that your products better fit your POS screen. And finally, we have the sync log. The sync log allows you to make sure that all of your orders, tills, employee clock-ins, and so many other features that we've talked about earlier have properly synced to the server. And if they're not, you can see those errors here and easily take steps towards resolving them. And that's pretty much the sync log right there. It's a great tool. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is click on each individual one that you see on the left side of the screen to kind of take a look and see if there are any of those errors. And like I previously said, make sure that you can actually get those things to sync. This is actually another thing that support might have you look at. If you're calling in for some kind of issue, they might ask you to visit your sync log and take a look at a particular section. And that actually wraps up our POS settings. We've got one other section to cover that can help you customize your POS to better fit your business and even speed up the time it takes for you to process a transaction. So let's go ahead and jump into that. We'll talk through the buttons at the bottom of the ticket screen first, called the action option buttons. So before we actually dig into them, I do want to highlight where they're located. So take a look at the screen, bottom, there's a red rectangle around it. We'll talk through what some of the options are, and if you see anything that you'd like to add or remove, simply email our support team. So that's going to be support@revelsystems.com to let them know the changes that you want to make, and they'll be able to assist you because this is actually one of the things that you currently cannot customize without the help of support. So here are some of the options. You can see them on the right side of the screen. The buttons that you see on your POS screen all depend on your settings. So if you don't see some of these or you see some other ones that aren't on this list, again, it's going to depend on your settings. You can have buttons that allow you to open the cash drawer, scan a coupon, enter a barcode, print a guest check. You can adjust a service fee, add an extra item that might not even be on your menu, you can activate fast cash or fast credit, which allows you to move past the pay button and simply either swipe the card or enter the amount tendered. It might seem small, but every second counts when you process a transaction, especially if you're working in a quick service environment. You can have a button that adds or removes tax, links a card to a customer, and even discounts an order. So again, depending on your needs and your settings, you can adjust what you see and what order these buttons even show up in so that they fit your POS and your business just right. We're going to talk about the customer section on the POS. This section allows you to view your entire CRM and either edit an existing customer or create a new one. And you can do that directly from the POS. You can view your customer profiles, you can link a gift card or a loyalty card, and you can even manage house accounts if that's a Revel functionality that you use. You can capture customers for marketing purposes and rewards programs. And whenever you link a customer to an order, you start building a customer order history, allowing you to give that personalized experience that so many customers enjoy. So just to kind of talk through what you're seeing on your screen right now on the left-hand side, this is your actual CRM. You can search for your customer by name, company, phone, email, or a reference code. And then at the bottom of that first image you see on the left, you can even add a new customer. And on the right-hand side, those are the fields that you'd go ahead and fill in. And when you're ready, save or add the customer to an order if you're creating a brand new customer that you want to directly link to an order. Speaking of orders, the order button, this tab essentially allows you to look up orders by ID, by credit card, or simply look at today's orders. You can also visit any outstanding invoices. You can check the sync status of your orders. You can also look at held orders, so you'll see that at the very top. And if you utilize delivery management, you'll be able to access the delivery manager screen directly from this section. So you again would tap orders and then click delivery management, again, if you have that feature set up. When you're actually taking an order, you can tap on the item. So imagine tapping on the item on the left, and you would be able to see the item detail screen on the right. And here you have the ability to change the dining option, apply any discounts or service fees to the item if needed. You can look up the item inventory. You can even split the item. And if your business uses coursing, you can edit the course number here. Again, this simply allows you to edit and customize the details of an item. And like I mentioned previously, if there are some buttons here that you don't see on your screen, or you have other buttons that aren't currently on the image on the screen, it all has to do with your settings. So depending on the features that you have turned on and depending on the things that your business uses, these buttons can vary a bit. Now let's focus on the payment screen. Of course, you're able to edit the type of payments you accept. Again, if you need to make those changes, please go ahead and contact our support team to either add or delete any payment types that you might need. But when you're ringing up an order that you select, or when you're ringing up an order and you need to select the type of payment, you can do that here. You can also add a tip, reprint, or even email a receipt to your customer and refund payments if needed. If you have a loyalty program, your customers can choose to redeem their rewards, so you can do that for them here. And of course, if your business splits bills, you'll have that functionality right here. And that pretty much wraps it up for us. I know that we've covered a lot of little details and it's probably moved by pretty quickly. And I do want to open it up to questions if we have any, but I'm going to do that in 1 second because right before we get into that, I do want to talk to you about our upcoming annual event. So Revelry 2017, it's going to be happening October 12th and 13th. It's going to be located at the Hyatt Regency in San Francisco, and it's a way for us to celebrate our customers and bring together different businesses to talk about how they're utilizing Revel. You get to learn lots of new things about Revel. We're going to have lots of workshops, guest speakers, so on and so forth, but it's a pretty exciting event. It's a lot of fun, and if you've never been to San Francisco, it's a great place to come visit. And September and October are our Indian summer months, so it is incredibly warm and beautiful. So if you want to escape some cold, please come and visit us. We'd be happy to have you. If you want more information, simply go to revelsystems.com/events, and all of the details for Revelry will be located right there. So at this point, I want to ask Andrew if any questions actually came up while we were gone. He's not in, or he's shaking his head no. So obviously, you guys are experts at this. Again, we're going to be here for a couple of minutes, so if any questions come up, please feel free to ping them to us through the webinar. Again, if you want to kind of take a stab at it on your own, we have lots of resources for you. I highly encourage you to visit revelsystems.com/Revel University. Revel University is something that we've recently deployed. It is absolutely fantastic in terms of different types of learners. So whether you like a video or you want something on paper, we have both there. If you have any recommendations on what you'd like to see there, so if there's a feature that isn't uploaded yet and you really want to know how to use it, please go ahead and email us. So again, our email is training@revelsystems.com. So if you have a recommendation as to a specific video that you'd like to see created, we'd love to hear that from you. So just to double check, nothing came in last minute. Cool. All right, everyone. I know that this was a short and sweet webinar. I will let you all go now, but I really do appreciate everyone joining us. And please stay tuned and visit us for other webinars. If you also log on to that same event site on revelsystems.com/events, you'll be able to see a list of our upcoming webinars. Otherwise, feel free to just look out for our emails and register for the webinars that you're interested in. Really appreciate you guys again, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.